welcome to another episode of the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host here, Eric Rodriguez, every Monday through Friday here to talk about the best thing in the world, professional wrestling. And it is a Tuesday. We had a pretty, hopefully you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys are easing in this new coming up week. Hope you guys are easing in pretty well. So it is Tuesday, so you know what we do. And every Tuesday, we talk about Tuesdays today in wrestling history. So obviously, we're gonna have that as my fifth segment. That we have a lot for you today. Segment one, first and foremost, we're gonna talk about some WWE Raw. A lot of crazy stuff happened. Just a lot of stuff to kind of talk about. Obviously, want to hear your guys' opinion in the chat. Segment two, we're gonna talk about WWE NXT. Then we're gonna talk about some wrestlers who made brief stops in TNA to kind of, wet their beak a little bit on action outside the WCW, WWE/WWF, and stuff like that. And then we're going to talk about Zilla Fatu, will potentially become part of the Bloodline, although it's still kind of up in the air. There hasn't been no evidence or, anything like that in terms of WWE reaching out, setting up a contract and stuff like that. But they're scouting Zila. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So, yeah. But before we do any of that, I want to remind you guys to use this awesome super chat box. Absolutely love hearing from you guys. Whether you got a burning question or a hot take about professional wrestling, we are all ears here at the GSMC Sports Network. This show is all about keeping the conversation lively, making sure your voice gets heard and is part of the mix. So don't be shy and make sure you share your thoughts in the chat. And if you really want to make sure your comments or question gets noticed, why not use that super chat? Just hit the $ below the chat box, send in your message, and it's guaranteed to get featured on the show. Plus, it's a great way to support our channel. Your super chats help us keep the lights on and bring you even more awesome wrestling content that you love so much. We here at the GSMC Sports Network are so grateful for each and every one of you who tune into our shows. So, your support makes all the difference, guys. So let's keep the chat going, keep the conversation going. Let's let the good times roll. Make sure, you guys could definitely help me make sure that this show is better and stronger than ever. And of course, if the super chat thing is not your style, you can always hit up the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Obviously, tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Make sure you Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Also follow the show, follow the network. Make sure subscribe here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity. So make sure you leave a positive comment. Although I take criticism pretty well. I'm just kidding. Like tear down here. I'm just kidding. No. But this show is just for us as wrestling fans to just enjoy our company. So 1,010%. Make sure you guys you guys are part of the show. This is your show just as much as it is the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. So. All right, let's go ahead and dig on into it. First, we're going to talk about WWE Monday Night Raw. So you saw the show kick off with Randy Orton, which is kind of shocking because he is a WWE SmackDown superstar, and it was kind of funny how Drew McIntyre ultimately brought that up in the promo, trying to get Adam Pearce to be like, look, like why does he get a title shot? Why not? Why not me? Why not me? And so Randy Orton came out. I feel like it's getting more personal. Gunther, brought up the family, brought up Cowboy Bob Orton, and his father and his grandfather, saying that they're all screw ups and they all messed up in their careers, and Randy's the biggest screw up of them all. So you have Gunther kind of playing the string right there in the pathos kind of rhetoric, trying to persuade the crowd to that he's a heel, which he's been doing a really good job of. The way the crowd reacted to Gunther coming out, booing him, essentially almost like every single time he opened his mouth. It's a good sign, because for the longest time you kind of had Gunther wrestle in matches, and he was supported by the fans so damn much to the point where it was like, what? I don't think we can turn this guy heel. I kind of thought WWE was going to it was going to be hard. It was going to be hard. But putting him against somebody like Randy Orton right now, his babyface. I don't really see Randy Orton. Kind of, during the promo Monday Night Raw, I kind of saw a side of Randy that I was like, you know what? It's been a while since I've seen this kind of side of Randy Orton. Talking with the crowd, getting them involved. Kind of pandering to them a little bit. So it was interesting. I thought it was interesting, 1,010%. So, he guaranteed Gunther that he was going to hit him with another RKO. And I don't know. It was just, all overall great promo. I thought it was a good promo to put Gunther on as a complete heel, saying that Randy Orton will never ever RKO me again, and then kind of building up more momentum heading toward Bash at Berlin, which is less than 2 weeks away. Next we have Pete Dunne taking on Sheamus. Pete Dunne has been, he's been a busy man. He's been a busy man over there on WWE NXT on Tuesday nights, being a thorn in the side to Trick Williams. And now, he's fighting tonight in a triple threat match with Wesley and Joe Hendry for that number one contendership to take on NXT World Champion Ethan Page at the upcoming PLE No Mercy. So should be interesting. But he did lose tonight. He did lose on Monday Night Raw, and I kind of thought if they were going to give Pete Dunne a shot at the NXT World Championship, I would have saw him win tonight. Build up some momentum to kind of keep that maybe in the back of everyone's mind. Who's watching NXT? Obviously, I have it recorded. It's live right now on the USA Network. Can't wait to watch it. So I don't know. But then there is that also unpredictability that okay, a lot of people now think that Pete Dunne, there's no way he's gonna win. But he's, feuding with Trick Williams right now, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna have a match themselves at No Mercy. And then you have Wesley as well. Wesley, turned his back against the Rascals, talked crap about them, TNA, saying that you're basically using WWE for publicity because you're on a bad wrestling promotion, which isn't true, obviously. But just to kind of play on to that. So I think Zachary Wentz will definitely be a factor tonight. Maybe he distracts Wesley long enough for him to get the loss, and it's when they challenge each other at No Mercy to like a hardcore match or something like that. So that just leaves Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry could possibly do it tonight on NXT. Obviously I'm waiting. I think it's pretty cool. But yeah, moving on more about WWE Raw. You saw during the Braun Breaker promo about basically what's next. You saw the people that he's kind of taken out. They showed Ricochet. They showed Ricochet, and I know that might not mean a lot to other people, but I think having him being shown on these promos I feel like it's great news. I feel like it's great news for WWE fans because overall, you kind of have people still lingering with that thought in the back of their minds that Ricochet was taken out by Braun Breaker, ultimately written off WWE in terms of, so they can have contract negotiations. I think it's just a matter of time until Ricochet signs back with the WWE. I honestly think that, he'd be great in AEW. And I think overall AEW, Ring of Honor, New Japan Professional Wrestling, CML, kind of the partnerships Tony Khan has with all those wrestling promotions. I feel like he'd be great for him. I feel like he'd be great for him. I feel like he would be more of a bigger deal out there. But I don't know. WWE does not want to let somebody as with the talent caliber of Ricochet, go on the free market. Also, if AEW signs him, that just means that you're going to have more eyes turned to AEW. So I think that's also a huge reason why they want this to work out. They definitely having his fiance Samantha Irving, the Raw ring announcer, obviously is a nice little like touch. You get to travel with your significant other on the road on Monday Night Raw. So I don't know. I feel like is the juice worth the squeeze? It's a tough answer. It's a tough decision to make. I feel like right now Ricochet is kind of going, just being like, oh, what am I gonna do? Like, you know what I mean? Just know that whatever you go, whatever wrestling promotion you pick, you're gonna be a star. And yeah, just kind of take it one day at a time, man. So next we had Chad Gable and his new American made. You saw Maxine Dupree take on Ivy Nile, which was interrupted by the Wyatt Sicks. This feud between Chad Gable and his and the Creed brothers taking on the Wyatt Sixes in full gear, and now you kind of have Ivy Nile in the mix, which is kind of cool because I feel like she kind of needed to serve a purpose in terms of what exactly is going on. Not even for just her career, but just her character. Her. It's just you didn't see Ivy Nile on TV. You would see her, consistently kind of touch base with Maxine Dupree, and it got to the she turned heel, and tonight we saw Sister Abigail, which is, Nikki Cross, attack Ivy Now, which was kind of crazy. I was like, dude, it's kind of scary. I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, now we're gonna have a match next week with Chad Gable taking on Uncle Howdy. Should be pretty crazy. Next, we saw a promo by CM Punk. He was talking about how how much he loves and respects his fans in the WWE universe. He said, how somebody said CM Punk is a source of inspiration because she's battling cancer, which is, kind of crazy. Um, but overall, it was kind of funny how he said he was the Taylor Swift for men. And then, kind of like what they were hinting at once when you had CM Punk whip Drew McIntyre in the back. We're going to have a strap match. We're going to have a strap match on Bad Blood, not Bad Blood, at Bash at Berlin, I believe. So, these two are going to go at it. Should be pretty interesting. But yeah, now moving forward, we saw the New Day and Odyssey Jones defeat the Final Testament. It was a good match. It was a great match. Still, you have Xavier Woods feeling a little, like, okay, what exactly are we doing here? Is this guy replacing Big E or not? And Kofi Kingston told him straight up, he's like, dude, like, no one's ever replacing Big E, but we need help. We need help. Our faction, we've been around forever. We're successful. And, like, it was at the end where I was like, you know what? I felt like maybe there could have been a point in the match where Xavier Woods would have helped the Final Testament take out Odyssey Jones and just not really talk to Kofi anything about it and be like, dude, like, what are you doing? Or like maybe, in a weird alternate universe, maybe you had both Odyssey Jones and Xavier Woods turn on Kofi, which would have been absolutely bananas. But, it could have happened. It could have happened. So then next we see a no disqualification match between The Miz against Bronson Reed. Not really, much to talk about this match, but The Miz lost. Obviously, he was losing. And then, of course, you saw Bronson Reed met his match. Braun Strowman comes out. And so I was a little skeptical about this promo. I saw Braun Strowman come out. I was like, oh, dang, like, what's going to happen? This is crazy. But overall, I feel like it was a pretty good promo. So next we have Damian Priest taking on Dominic Mysterio. At the end of this, you saw basically just a way to get Damian Priest alone. You saw the Judgment Day absolutely destroy Priest, and Rhea Ripley were laid, beaten and battered in the middle of the ring. Standing tall was this new Judgment Day. I know there's been a lot of speculations of them, changing their name to, like, I think there was even people saying that they, street trash or something. I don't know. I just don't really understand that. I didn't think it was really that great. Next, we had the Women's Tag Team Championship match. The Unholy Union defeated Starks and Baszler, and then also a Damage Control, which I felt like it was a great decision. I ultimately feel like you kind of have this Unholy Union building up so much momentum as the women's tag team champions. Next, we have Randy Orton taking on Ludwig Kaiser. He beat and defeated Ludwig Kaiser right in front of Gunther's face, so that's a nice little, momentum builder heading toward WWE Bash at Berlin. And just kind of last thing I want to talk about, we are having an Intercontinental Championship tournament to determine Braun Breaker's opponents at Bash at Berlin. I think that was kind of what he was talking about, where he's like, people, they have to resort to, getting the best there is to see if whoever can fight me. I think mostly it's going to be WWE Raw superstars, but I wouldn't be too surprised since you saw Randy Orton kind of come across, Monday night, over from SmackDown. So there could be a possibility of SmackDown superstars that come over. Yeah, I believe that 1,010%. Maybe Carmelo Hayes, perhaps. Maybe Andrade, although he is the WWE Speed Champion, or maybe even Santos Escobar. So definitely a lot of possibilities going on with that Intercontinental Championship. Maybe the return of Ricochet, but I don't know. It's going to be great. I feel like overall it's going to be awesome. All right, guys. So hey, do not go anywhere. We're going to talk about some NXT that's happening right now. Kind of have it recorded, so I can't wait to watch it. So let's go ahead and jump on into it. Sorry, as soon as we come back. So hey, do not go anywhere.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, I'm losing shit. A stupid myth, you choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right. We are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time, here to talk about everything in terms of professional wrestling. So, just kind of reflect on what we talked about real quick. We had my WWE SmackDown Monday Night Raw review, and now we're going to talk about some NXT that's happening tonight. Can't wait to watch it. NXT has rapidly become one of my favorite shows to watch. So, let's go and dig on into it. But before we do any of that, I want to remind you guys that if you have a burning question or a hot take in terms of professional wrestling, here at the GSMC Sports Network, we are all ears. This show is all about keeping the conversation lively, making sure your voice is part of the mix. So don't be shy. Drop your thoughts inside the chat. And if you really want to make sure your chat or comment, question, concern, opinion gets noticed, why not use that super chat? Just hit that $sign below the chat box, send in your message, and it's guaranteed to get featured on the show. Plus, it's a great way to support our channel. Your super chats helps keep the lights on, so to speak, and bring even more awesome wrestling content that you guys love so much. We are so grateful here at the GSMC Sports Network for each and every one of our audience members who joins every show. Your support makes a hell of a lot of difference. So let's keep the conversation going. Send in those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. And together we will make this show bigger, better, and stronger than ever. And also, if if the super chat's not your thing, we are still at the GSMCpodcast.net. Hit up that tips and donations link at the GSMCpodcast.net. Shoot me your comments, questions, and concerns. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Just remember to super band punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show, follow the network here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity, 1,010%. So let's go ahead and dive on into some WWE NXT. All right, so we are less than 2 weeks away from NXT No Mercy at the Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado. We have 3 matches that will confirm by the end of the show, exactly what title matches we're going to see at No Mercy. Obviously, Roxanne Perez is waiting for she's waiting for a competitor. So is Ethan Page. So is who's that other? I think Kehlani Jordan, or I'm not too sure. But anything could happen tonight on NXT. Obviously, 2 more shows until No Mercy. So anything could happen. First, we're going to talk about, we have a Gauntlet Eliminator match for a shot at the NXT Women's Championship at No Mercy. We have Ren Sinclair, we have Adriana Rizzo, we got Solruka, Jada Parker, Kendall Gray, and Carmen Petrovich. I think, Roxanne Perez, the people that she's defeated in her title matches has been, it's been great. Jordan Grace, Lola Vice. I think she defeated who's the other girl? I want to say Tatum Paxley. No, it wasn't Tatum Paxley. But no, she's had a very good run. She's protected her title every single chance, somebody came and tried to steal it from her. But honestly, Ren Sinclair right now, I don't think she's ready to hold a major championship. I'm not saying if they win tonight, they're gonna go on to face Roxanne Perez. But so far, you kind of had Lola Vice, kind of play that emotional role that like, hey, my family, I started from the bottom and, then, this and that and the other. And I feel like Roxanne Perez has kind of taken on a little bit of, kind of like a babyface role. I would be more interested, and I think I think Sol Ruca is a champion. I think she's a champion for the future for sure. But honestly, I kind of want to see Jada Parker fight her. I would, want to see Jada Parker come out of this gauntlet match. You kind of saw her, kind of talk about at the Great American Bash where Roxanne Perez was, preparing for her match, and then she's like talking to I think it was Hank and Tank saying talking how she's the NXT champion, and Jada Parker walks by and she's like, we're not too sure. We're not going to know that by the end of the night. Like, you know what I mean? Like, love Carmen Petrovic, but I think right now she's not really ready. Kendall Gray's like I don't know. I feel like she's just starting to get a lot of positive attention, starting to get her career rolling a little bit there. So, I think that makes sense. And the only thing that I feel like if she was in a match with Roxanne Perez, people might be like, "Holy crap! Like this girl has a chance, and she's not going to put up with Roxanne's, you know, her bull spit, and she's gonna take you right back to her." And the promos going back and forth between Roxanne Perez and Jada Parker until No Mercy is gonna be amazing. So my pick to win the gauntlet match, I kind of want to see Jada Parker and see what she does in that in that position against Roxanne Perez. Next we have Hank Walker and Take Ledger taking on Luca Gallows and Carl Anderson tonight. Obviously, they're having a barbecue. They're the host of WWE NXT Great American Bash. Week 1 and week 2, I thought they did a pretty good job. And then at the barbecue, you saw Gallows and Anderson kind of, getting fight with Hank and Tank. And we've been kind of waiting to see these guys, kind of open up here on NXT. And, what better way to do it than a win or maybe just even a close match against the Good Brothers who've been in the wrestling world for like ever. But overall, I think it's going to be a great match. I think it's going to be an amazing match. Next, we have Lola Vice taking on Wendy Chu. Wendy Chu choked out to the NXT Women's North American Champion, Kaylani Jordan, last week on NXT. Lola Vice, to her chagrin, obviously wasn't really having it. Tatum Paxley even went to Lola Vice for like, "Oh, protect me," which was kind of weird. I was like, what, how are they kind of playing this role a little bit here? I think ultimately they are kind of, in cahoots. So, I don't know. This angle with Wendy Chu, I haven't seen anybody like this like since Nikki Cross was in NXT. I think, don't quote me on that. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I don't know. It's a different, if you're gonna have this, creepy mentality. Obviously, on Monday Night Raw, you have the Wyatt Sicks, and then on at NXT, you have Tatum Paxley, who's a little, kind of messed up. And then Wendy Chu, returned on NXT about a month ago. I think it was about a month ago. And now you kind of have her in this role where she's going around, with crazy eyes, being all awkward, and so I think something's got to give tonight. I ultimately think Lola Vice should pick up the victory against Wendy Chu, but just to kind of push Wendy Chu to maybe taking on Kehlani Jordan at No Mercy. You have Wendy Chu win this. You have Wendy Chu win this match just to kind of build momentum. It kind of creating that. Kehlani Jordan's like that sweet and innocent, and Wendy Chu is that dark and a monstrous person who wants to corrupt and corrupt the NXT Women's North American Championship, which would be, I think it would be a pretty good, be a pretty good storyline there. I think that'd be pretty badass. Next, we have Dion Lennox taking on Ashante Adonis. Then we're gonna see a celebration by Chase U, Andre Chase, and Ridge Holland picking up the victory against Axiom and Nathan Frazier last week on NXT. So, I I'm right now kind of doubting that Rich Holland right now at this point will kind of, you know, betray Chase U. I kind of thought for the longest time that this was kind of like a ploy, but maybe that's exactly what the wrestling, that's exactly what they want us to think. But I'm just kidding. But at this point, I wouldn't honestly want to see Rich Holland in like another, storyline. So I think right now it's working. So, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of mentality there. I think Sean definitely likes this attention that Chase U has been getting since this Ridge Holland drama. Then you had Thea Hale, and then now you also have Duke Hudson And then you have Riley Osborne, who has a match for a chance at the X Division Championship at TNA Emergence August 30th. August 30th. So, should be pretty cool. Should be badass. I can't wait to see the celebration, how it goes down. Who's going to spoil it? Maybe you see Nathan Frazier and Axiom, try to find out, what's next for them and, rematch clause and, them ultimately getting the loss. So, yeah, should be interesting. Also, we have a number one contenders match, the main event for Ethan Page's NXT World Heavyweight Championship. You have Joe Hendry taking on Wesley, taking on Pete Dunne. This is big. This is really big because you have so many ways out, so many options that you can kind of have superstars. You can have Zachary Wentz screw over Wesley. You can have Sheamus screw over Pete Dunne. You can have Trick Williams screw over Pete Dunne. You can have Gallus screw over Joe Hendry. You can also have Josh Alexander. TNA's Josh Alexander has been rumored to making his way to WWE NXT, and obviously he did cost Joe Hendry the title at Slammiversary. So it would, it'd be pretty big if you saw Josh Alexander kind of go out there. I think they're going to kind of hold off that, just yet. There has been talks about Joe Hendry becoming the new face of NXT, especially when they go to the CW in October. But as of right now, I think a build up to Joe Hendry, kind of winning and kind of getting the respect of not that he doesn't have the respect of the fans, the respect of the fans, the respect of the NXT locker room and stuff like that. So he could, be the face of NXT. I think that'd be perfect for him. 1,010%. So definitely love the spot that Joe Hendry's in, because even if I feel like he loses, he's getting this attention right now, and that's kind of prepping him up for the future, which I feel like he will be the future of NXT. All right, so we just got done talking about some good old fashioned WWE NXT, and now we're going to talk about wrestlers who have had a run in TNA. Obviously, this collaboration between TNA and NXT has left the door wide open. The forbidden door is wide open, guarantee you that. And it's not the first couple of TNA superstars that are going to make their way to NXT. You have, like I said, you have NXT going over to TNA as well. Good business. And it's a damn shame that this hasn't happened earlier. Obviously, that's a big ass, like, maybe, it would have been so awesome. Samoa Joe, Young, AJ Styles, like, Jay Lethal, Chris Sabin, Christopher Daniel, like, it would be, so I don't know. We're just going to talk about some wrestlers that maybe you did not know, kind of had a brief run in TNA, and how TNA has kind of been a cornerstone in terms of professional wrestling for wrestlers to kind of be like, you know what, I'm going to kind of go to TNA a little bit, find myself. And I'm not trying to downplay TNA, saying that they're like the minor leagues opposed to the major leagues and, comparing it to baseball. But I don't know. I feel like TNA is definitely underrated in terms of the stars that they ultimately kind of give out to their promotion. So we're going to talk about it when we come back. So, hey, do not go anywhere.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right. And we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to talk about all the action inside and outside of the ring, backstage drama. We also talk about in terms of, wrestlers, injury status, maybe contract negotiations, possibilities for, returns, maybe some debuts from the independent circuit, from WWE to AEW to TNA, Ring of Honor, New Japan Professional Wrestling, Stardom, MLW, some independent wrestling circuits that, make the news. We talk about it here on the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. So yeah, I got a chat right now from 20 CMJ02. Yes, hi Eric, Insider Report. Hey man, hope everything's swell for you on this beautiful Tuesday night. Hope everything's great for everybody. We definitely love and appreciate everybody watching right now. 1,010%. Obviously, if you have any takes on professional wrestling, any opinions that's happening right now, don't be shy. Go ahead and hit it up in the chat. There are no wrong answers. Honestly, I absolutely love it when the fans interact. It makes the show a hell of a lot better. So yeah. So now we're gonna talk about before we get into my next segment, we're gonna go ahead and talk about the super chat box. Go ahead and hit up that super chat box, guys. That $sign right below the chat box. If you have a burning question, or if you just want to, share something, get something off your mind, be a part of the mix. Don't be shy. Don't be shy and drop your thoughts inside the chat. And to make sure they are guaranteed on the show. Um, it. Sorry about that. Make sure they get guaranteed on the show. Hit up that super chat. That's those super stickers because you guys are super awesome. So we can keep this wrestling or this sports content that you guys love so damn much going. We are so grateful for each and every one of you guys who joins us here. Your support makes all the difference. So let's keep the conversation going. Send in those super chats, and together we will make sure this show is bigger, better, and stronger than ever. And if the super chat's not your thing, also we have the GSMCpodcast.net. Hit up that tips and donations link. Leave a positive review. Make sure your Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. So yeah, we can have some good old fashioned fun. All right. So I'm talking about the tips and shows. Bam. So now we're gonna talk about some wrestlers that had, kind of runs in TNA that you would never kind of expect. So yeah, let's go ahead and dig on into it. We have another chat. Your top 5 Hell in the Cell matches. Oh man, the right off the I think I did last week some Hell in a Cell matches. Definitely, I've done. I think the Hell in a Cell match with Triple H and The Undertaker with Shawn Michaels as a special guest referee is definitely one of my favorite matches because it's like my 3 favorite wrestlers on my sorry, excuse me, on my Mount Rushmore, kind of going at it. That's definitely one of them. Another one, obviously, I definitely loved the match at Vengeance 2006 between Batista and Triple H. Thought that was cool. Then, of course, Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, the first ever Hell in a Cell match. Then Triple H, Cactus Jack, No Way Out, and my number 1 favorite Hell in a Cell matches, obviously is Mankind taking on The Undertaker. He threw the guy out the cell. Like, that's crazy. And he threw him through the top of the cell. Like, he landed and broke. Oh my God. Poor Mick Foley. Poor Mick Foley. Even Jim Ross was like, oh, he's dead. He's dead. Like, I don't know. It was definitely one of the top Hell in a Cell matches. So, those are my top 5. Obviously, let me know in the chat maybe some of your favorite Hell in a Cell matches. So, yeah. All right. So, obviously, we just got done talking about the collaboration between NXT and and TNA. You see great stars like Joe Hendry. You saw the Rascals. You saw Jordan Grace, and maybe Nick Nemeth perhaps makes his way to a shocking WWE return. That'd be pretty cool. Would love that. TNA, wrestlers who wrestled in TNA. TNA started in 2002. It was a product of the NWA. The prestigious names that come out of TNA. Obviously, you have Samoa Joe. You have AJ Styles. You have Christopher Daniels. You also have, some stars that once when they went to TNA, once when they left WWE, people thought these guys didn't have a snowball's chance in furthering their career in terms of professional wrestling. But we saw, Kurt Angle go over there and do well. We saw Bobby Lashley go over there. We saw R-Truth when he was K-Quick in 2001, 2002. You had Kevin Nash. You also saw Sting. You also you saw the Dudleys as well. You had Bubby Ray Dudley become Bully Ray, and when he had that faction with Aces and Eights, and I thought that was pretty badass. And then so yeah, now obviously a person that we had no idea. Actually, I didn't really know until I was doing a little bit of research. But we have Rowdy Roddy Piper, who was basically he was in the beginning. He was in the beginning of TNA. He was Roddy Roddy Piper was very popular back in the 1970s, 80s, and 90s, and he definitely helped mature the locker room. He was, a lot of up and coming wrestlers kind of relied on what Piper's, mentality was and his experience within professional wrestling. So, kind of how to protect yourself inside the ring, how to, sell a promo, how to sell promos and becoming a heel, maybe becoming a baby face. So definitely, Roddy Piper's on that list of TNA. Also, the Steiner brothers from 2006 to 2010. Scott Steiner worked exclusively with TNA. Rick Steiner was kind of, a hit or miss. He was in the first ever TNA NWA event, but disappeared until 2003. 3 years later, then he showed up for TNA Sacrifice the Team with Sting, and then he feuded with Team 3D in 2007. So it's kind of crazy to kind of see these two guys, definitely big names in terms of WCW. And I got a chat once again from 20M CMJ02. Love that list. Thank you, my man. My top five are Cena versus Orton. Oh, that one was good. Usos versus the New Day. Undertaker and Kane. That was pretty cool. Drew versus Randy Orton. Um, I think those are amazing matches. 1,010%. I think in nowadays wrestling, I think they needed big matches like that, like kind of what you have with the Usos in the New Day. A lot of people never really saw tag teams duke it out inside the Hell in a Cell, and the Undertaker and Kane, because Kane he made his appearance at, I think it was In Your House is when he took on Sean. No, Bad Blood. I think it was Bad Blood where he took on the Sean for the very first Hell in a Cell match. You had Kane have his debut, being introduced to the WWE. And it took a little while, but we got Kane versus The Undertaker. So I love that. Drew McIntyre take on Randy Orton. I 100%, 1,010% love all those matches are my fave. Dude, that's right on. Hell yeah, I love that. So like the Steiner brother, now we're gonna talk about we just got to talk about the New Day. We had Xavier Woods. He was a solo act as Consequences Creed. He was a high-flying, hard-hitting X Division competitor, although he never won the belt, which is kind of sad. Kind of sucks. Then he had a tag team collaboration with Jay Lethal, and they became the Lethal Consequences. But he was released in March of 2010. So, but he had a nice run in TNA. Definitely, became the man he is today as Xavier Woods. Next, we have Bob Backlund. Bob Backlund is he's an amazing, impressive in-ring career in the NWA, New Japan Professional Wrestling. The WWF changed to the WWF. He was a very popular babyface, and he has one of the longest reigning world championship runs in history. Bob Backlund signed with TNA and worked with a lot of bright young stars. Joined in 2007, exclusively working with the Motor City Machine Guns. So, obviously those guys became popular. They're still wrestling in TNA, I believe. No, wait, Ring of Honor. Don't quote me on that. I got to fact check that. But, they're great wrestlers, obviously, having somebody impressive like Bob Backlund, one of the longest reigning world champions. It's kind of a great way to kind of go about it there. So, a lot of people didn't know that Bob Backlund was kind of pulling strings behind TNA. Next, we have China, the ninth wonder of the world, debuted in WWF early 1997. She won the Intercontinental Championship. China helped Kurt Angle even the odds with the feud against Jeff Jarrett and his wife, Karen Jarrett. And I remember this got the wrestling world absolutely buzzing when you saw China come to TNA, because a lot of people, once when everything went down and, her and Triple H had a falling out, then he eventually started dating, Stephanie, and then, the rest is history. Then you saw China's career kind of go downhill a little bit. I think you kind of saw her. I think she was on the Surreal Life, I think it was, which was a trash show. It was a terrible show. But she wasn't happy. She wasn't happy. She was dealing with heartbreak, kind of, dealing with substances and stuff like that. It's definitely not easy dealing with hardcore emotions and using, substances to kind of, help alter and help, kind of fix them. But when China came back into TNA, a lot of people were excited to kind of see her find her way back to professional wrestling. I thought she was going to kind of have a longer run than she did, but, tragically, she passed away. But her run in TNA was the last wrestling run that that the fans definitely definitely remember. And like I said, kind of sad, kind of sucks. Would have loved to see her kind of wrestle more and just it's just she was a good she was great. She was great wrestler. Next, we have Kazuchika Okada. Before becoming a legend in New Japan Professional Wrestling, he had historic title reigns. He dominated the G1 Climax tournament, and he's the king of 5-star matches, according to Dave Meltzer, which is kind of crazy. In 2010, he joined TNA. The Rainmaker was born, but wasn't successful. During TNA, he lost a lot, and according to Pro Wrestling Insider, it ultimately damaged TNA's relationship with New Japan Professional Wrestling. He left for New Japan Professional Wrestling October 2011 for a fresh start, and bam, lo and behold, the Rainmaker, Kazu Okada, was born, and definitely being a complete badass and a legend in New Japan Professional Wrestling, and even all Japanese wrestling and stuff like that. All right, so we're rapidly running out of time, like rapidly running out of time in this segment. So, this kind of, right, fire right out of the cannon. We have Randy Savage. Didn't know Randy Savage had a brief run in TNA, but, anything with the Macho Man, Randy Savage, oh, yeah. Gotta love and respect. I thought that was pretty cool. Diamond Dallas Page was in TNA. He helped a lot of the young talent, 1,010%. Obviously, he did kind of make his way back to WWE behind the scenes. Now he kind of does DDP yoga, and I guess it works. I guess, I've been looking online and stuff like that, and it's impressive. And we kind of mentioned this. We had K Quick, we had R-Truth, but overall, I kind of love the fact that R-Truth made such a name for himself in TNA, and then he made it back to WWE. Obviously, one of the best 24/7 champions in the world, which is, I know how you guys feel about the 24/7, the belt and stuff like that, and I honestly feel that way too. Next, we have the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks, they were known as Perfect Me or something like that, but they had their career started in TNA. They were absolute nobodies. Eventually, they would lead to go to the independent circuit and become one of the best known tag teams around the independent circuit in professional wrestling. Ring of Honor, had it all started in TNA. All started in TNA. These guys are from Rancho Cucamonga, which is in Southern California. So I thought that's pretty cool. CM Punk, obviously CM Punk, very, very young, very, very young when he was fighting in TNA wrestling. Ultimately, kind of he was impressive. WWE had their eye on CM Punk, even when he was in Ring of Honor. So, and then lastly, we have Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre was essentially promised to be the next guy, next Vince's guy in WWE. Kind of had a little bit of shortcomings, a couple of injuries to the point where he wasn't really up to perform to the standards that a lot of WWE creative hope he was. Then he got released, went down to the independent circuit, had to recreate himself. He kind of went from nothing to something. Not that it was nothing working I'm just talking in terms of, kind of like, on the biggest spectrum and stuff like that. So, Drew McIntyre absolutely killed it, made it back to WWE, where he's one of the biggest stars on the Monday Night Raw roster. So definitely love and respect TNA. Obviously, a lot of young talent kind of go there to kind of find themselves, kind of bounce back a little bit there. All right, so we got done talking about wrestlers who, made a run in TNA for a little bit. Now we're going to talk about my next segment. WWE is scouting Zilla Fatu and becoming the next Bloodline member to make an appearance, maybe for Team Roman, maybe for Team Solo Sikoa, and randomly kind of throwing out, I kind of read an article about it. Maybe The Rock gathers up his kind of side of the story where you kind of have 3 people heading for that, tribal chief title. So we're going to talk about this when we come back. So, hey, do not go anywhere.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All All right, all right, all right. We are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern. Here to talk about everything in terms of professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring, all the behind-the-stage drama, also superstar news, injury updates, and contract statuses and stuff like that. From AEW to WWE to Ring of Honor, we touch on the NWA. We try to get, if we make big, major wrestling headline news, 1,010% is going to be on this show. So, take a journey with me every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time, here on the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. And now we're going to get into our next segment. We're going to talk about WWE scouting, Zilla Fatu. But before we get on into any of that, I have, a couple of chats, definitely from 20 CMJ02. Must be such a hard life, professional wrestling, physically, mentally, and demanding. So many gone too soon. Yeah, that's true. That's true, 1,010%. I could never put up with that schedule. Very rigorous, very oh my God, a lot of traveling. You're not sleeping in your own bed. You're not seeing your kids every day, or your wife, or your husband, for that matter. It's a tough life, and a lot. It's not made for everybody. That's why a lot of these superstars, WWE superstars, I feel like they get credit for being athletes, but a lot of times, once when people you mention wrestling, they're like, "Oh, wrestling's like it's scripted and choreographed, bro." It's like, dude, come on, man. Come on, dude. Macho Man was in Macho Man was in TNA. That's crazy. I thought that too. And I love the impression. 1,010%. I do, cheesy impressions here. Sometimes I sing on this podcast. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I do, honestly. But, definitely love the chats. 1,010%. 20 CMJ02. Definitely, should make it to the show more often. Definitely love, the back and forth here. I think it's awesome as hell. So let's talk about Zilla Fatu coming to WWE to help out Roman Reigns, or maybe he's going to help out his former tag team partner, Jacob Fatu. So WWE might be getting yet another member of the Bloodline inside WWE. This Bloodline storyline has obviously been one of the best scripts in terms of the professional wrestling industry. It's been the bomb. It's been great. And once when you think it's over, it takes another turn. And it's great storytelling. It's a lot of long-term storytelling that has been absent within professional wrestling. Obviously before the Triple H Paul Levesque era, I think it really has a lot to do with what Triple H, his experience inside the ring. Also, you have The Rock, one of the chairman in the TKO. He knows exactly what professional wrestling entails, and he has a Hollywood kind of background a little bit where he could be like a director or producer, where he can make people you're kind of mixing cinema with professional wrestling. And I think that's a huge reason why WWE Monday Night Raw will end up on Netflix. 1,010%. This Bloodline storyline is coming to Netflix. Essentially, you're watching The Rock carry on a TV series, for free if you're Netflix, because obviously, he's going to be for WWE because he cares about it. So you're like, man, we can have the show with The Rock starring, but it's wrestling. But that's cool. You know what I mean? That's awesome. It was the first time ever professional wrestling has really been on a streaming service, is having episodes not WWE, because I know the NWA does it with the CW app. So, I think this is going to be great. Paul Heyman said this Bloodline storyline is only in the third inning. So, it's definitely has a pretty bright future. Only the Lord knows what else we have left in store, what could happen next. So, but I'm along for the ride. I 1,010% can't wait for this to happen. So yeah. So Roman Reigns hit Solo Sikoa with an impactful spear, showing at SummerSlam, showing him that who's the real tribal chief, the tribal chief honor to them. And I feel like this storyline is way bigger than the WWE Championship, although having the championship will make a statement. But I think overall they will kind of get out of the whole Cody Rhodes thing for a little bit here. I think Roman Reigns is going to focusing on, kind of getting his family in check a little bit. So, yeah, we had the New Japan Professional Wrestling star, Kika Leo, has been signed. He is on the WWE roster on the, on WWE.com. So WWE is definitely foreshadowing the signing of independent wrestling star Zilla Fatu. Fightful reports that WWE indeed is, has their eye on Zilla Fatu, and he's been impressive. I think he's only 23 years old. He's super young, but he's coached by his family. His family obviously know a hell of a lot of professional wrestling. His dad was Umaga. Rikishi kind of, took the reins in terms of like, all right, let's raise you to become a professional wrestler. It's definitely something you can do. I think out of everybody, he looks jacked. He looks great. He looks like he can definitely, be that young, have the potential to kind of be like a United States champion, maybe intercontinental. And I think the fans love him. I think the fans love him 1,010%, which could possibly be a way for him to kind of jump on Roman's side. But, his being a former tag team champion. I think he was a tag team champion with the Jacob Fatu. Don't quote me on that. But Jacob Fatu, also inside the independent wrestling circuit, was loved so much. That's why they held off on him so much, because Solo Sikoa still didn't seem that strong, because Jacob Fatu, when with the arrival of Tamatanga, and then you saw Tongaloa, and if Jacob Fatu would have appeared too fast, WWE, and according to reports, said that he could have outshined Solo Sikoa, which I feel like is kind of happening right now. But I like the way Solo handles his promos. I guess it's a little, I don't know. I kind of compared it to like a biblical kind of setting where he's like, you have the false prophet, Solo Sikoa, and then you have, the powerful tyrant that's going to make his way and try to be tribal chief in the future, The Rock. And then at the end of it, you're going to have your true king. You're going to have Roman Reigns, which is, fighting for this tribal chief and fighting for that necklace is perhaps going to be more important than the WWE championship, because, it's Roman Reigns. It's The Rock. All this bloodline drama. This is main event caliber. It's so far we're like, dude, are you kidding me? We can have main event segments, main event promos, and we can get attention from wrestling fans, and we don't even have to include a title. That's crazy. That's nuts. Never in the world of professional wrestling has that ever happened. Usually it builds up toward a title reign. That's why I'm thinking that Cody Rhodes will ultimately kind of be on his own a little bit. A lot of people are anticipating Kevin Owens stabbing Cody Rhodes in the back. But would it be kind of crazy if you had Cody Rhodes kind of do the opposite? Maybe after he defeats Kevin Owens at WWE Bash at Berlin, maybe he turns heel, or maybe he turns heel in the future. And it's to the point where Roman Reigns has a title shot at WrestleMania, and then now you have the fans chanting for Roman. Kind of that flip reversal, that storyline telling would be absolutely phenomenal. I think that would be pretty awesome. But I think it all starts too with Zilla Fatu. I think having him debut in the WWE would be totally huge, totally huge. Like I said, there has been no sign that WWE has contacted to try to sign Fatu. He remains in the GCW Game Changer Wrestling. And just in terms of WWF, WWE, you've had a bunch of talented, from the Samoan dynasty, obviously the late great Afa, and also Sika Hanoi. And we also, like his father, Umaga, Rocky Johnson, Peter Maivia, like all these amazing superstars. And of course you have Roman, who's, still kicking ass. And then of course you have The Rock conquering Hollywood. He was a hell of a wrestler inside WWF before he made it, where he kind of changed planes to Hollywood there a little bit. But I know you had a lot of, talented Samoan dynasty. So definitely thought that was pretty cool. In an interview with Fightful, Zilla Fatu was asked about getting in the ring with the great one, The Rock. He said, and I quote, he said, "Hell yeah, I want to stand in the ring with him. Against him, with The Rock, it would be dope. I'd win though." I thought that was kind of cool, just that I'd win though. I would kick his. I'm just kidding. I don't know. That's how I would see like them kind of going at it. It'd be pretty cool. On the Rikishi Off the Top podcast, Rikishi spoke about the possibility of not just Zilla coming to the WWE, but also Tamiko, also Lance Anoa'i, and also Journey as well joining the WWE. And he said, and I quote, "Tamiko can kind of be in the same category as Zilla," indicating that they're kind of young. And, they said Rikishi claims that they still need maybe like a year or more in terms of experience under their belts to hang with WWE. Because the last thing you ultimately want to do is you kind of have people that, oh, let's just kind of throw them in there, see how they do. And they don't do well. They miss their spots. And it just turns into watching like trash wrestling to the point where it's like, all right. So you kind of just you just brought them in to be part of the bloodline. So far, that has not happened. Obviously, there has been some hate for Tongaloa for, kind of missing a couple of spots there. His debut, also that low blow he was supposed to do to Kevin Owens, and a lot, I don't know. It's just, and he got injured. His eyes, I don't know, it's kind of crazy. So now there's a lot of you screening there. I feel like Tama Tonga has done a sensational job on the new bloodline. I think he's great. I definitely think he definitely deserves to be in WWE. 1,010%. Jacob Fatu, oh my God. Talk about a man who is, high flying, technical wrestling, dominant, powerful, powerhouse. This guy has it all. So I love watching Jacob Fatu every single time he steps inside the ring. Every single time he does something, I'm like, dude, this guy is insane. This guy doing backflips and just diving outside the ring. Like it's nuts. It's nuts 1,010%. But he deserves to be there. Obviously, we can expect a lot from Zilla Fatu coming in as well. He is still 23 years old. Maybe, once when Monday Night Raw comes to Netflix, which is still quite some time away, I honestly don't think we're going to see Zilla or Hikuleo before Survivor Series, unless they make their, debut to kind of help, at the War Games match. But right now, I just think it's kind of perfect the way it's going right now. All these guys still have some months to kind of prep, kind of get ready for WWE. So, definitely no rush. Like Paul Heyman said, we are still in the third inning. Patience is key. Obviously, the more you wait and the better the product looks, better the outcome. Kind of like, kind of comparing it to cooking. I work at a senior living facility. I'm a cook. I also, wait there as well. But, the longer it takes to cook a meal, the faster someone will eat it, kind of mentality there a little bit. That, kind of let it simmer. Kind of let it simmer there. You know what I mean? If you let it simmer too long, if you have your at a steak that's super well done, I don't get why people order steaks well done. I'm not hating on people. Definitely don't. But I don't know. I just don't get it. So Rikishi also said that Lance and Noe also journeyed. Also, they're ready. They're ready as of right now to join the WWE. So he has a lot of faith in his family. Obviously, the Samoan dynasty in terms of professional wrestling has been big. Zilla Fatu is being watched by WWE. And a contract in the future, definitely. He wrestles with under Booker T's. Oh my God, I forgot his promotion. Damn it. He wrestles with Booker T. He obviously is backstage during the SummerSlam, and he's there supporting. He's with Jimmy, he's with Jay, he's with Jacob. So he's getting a feel of things, and he's going to make a very good WWE superstar in the making. All right, guys, for our fifth and final segment, we do it every Tuesday. Our Tuesdays today in wrestling history. Go ahead and strap on your seatbelt. We're going to drive in my wrestling DeLorean, go back in time on this date, August 20th. And so make sure you buckle up, because where we're going, we don't need no road. So stay tuned. And we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, here to talk about all things in terms of professional wrestling, So just kind of reiterate and reflect on what we talked about real quick on today's show. We had our WWE Monday Night Raw review. Then we talked about NXT preview. It's happening right now. Cannot wait to watch it. We also talked about TNA wrestlers that have stopped in TNA to kind of, bounce back a little bit, kind of, catch their, catch their tune a little bit and be like, you know what, let's just work in TNA for a little bit. And also we talked about some young stars that debuted in TNA. Maybe didn't really work as, but it ultimately got their foot in the door, to kind of get to know people in terms of the wrestling industry. Then, people start talking. Then you impress some people during matches. Even matches, sometimes you lose, and they're like, you know what, this guy can do wonders in terms of our promotion and stuff like that. Then we talked about Zilla Fatu being scouted by WWE. So, definitely the Bloodline's going to have another member debut. Still some time. Rikishi still feels like he still needs at least a year to kind of get more experience under his belt, before making it to WWE. So now we're going to talk about our fifth segment. We're going to talk about Tuesdays today in wrestling history. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's talk about it. All right. First and foremost, let's before we get into the end of this, I want to we have a couple of notable wrestling birthdays. We have Rip Morgan, Tori, Duke of the Dumpster, Dreos, Mickey Nichols, and we also have Walter as well. I think that when they mean Walter, do they mean Gunther? I think he had a birthday already, but no, I could be tripping. 1,010%. So happy birthday if you guys are watching this show. That'd be pretty cool if you were. But let's go ahead and dig on into it. The IWA Japan presented the Kawasaki Dream event in Kawasaki, Japan. The match featured the infamous King of the Death match tournament that the final saw Cactus Jack defeat Terry Funk in no ropes, exploding barbed wire, exploding ring time bomb match. That's insane. All the punishment that Mick Foley has put his body through for the sake of entertaining wrestling fans. Man, has anybody ever doubted this guy's determination and his commitment to professional wrestling? This man did anything and everything to kind of put his name out there on the map, help the promotion like ECW, like I said, the WWF, and it's just so crazy. And you can tell that by Mick. Mick, he's a good guy. He's a good guy, 1,010%. When he became the manager of Monday Night Raw, it just seemed like he just enjoys being out there. He's a professional wrestler through and through. Mick Foley, what was the saying that they always do? Something Foley's baby boy, I think he's from Rhode Island. Rhode Island. So I loved Cactus Jack when he made his way back to the WWE, during that, I think it was 2001, 2000. And he took out Triple H, but obviously didn't win the championship, which kind of sucked. I wanted to see Cactus win. He had a street fight at the Royal Rumble. Then he also had that Hell in a Cell match at No Way Out. But it was great. It was all Mick Foley, 1,010%, all Mick Foley. So we got my man Mick Foley and Terry Funk. And of course, in 2001, Monday Night Raw played host to Stone Cold Steve Austin Appreciation Night as the Alliance paid tribute to their leader, Stone Cold Steve Austin. The party was ruined when Kurt Angle drove up with a milk truck to ringside and doused the entire group with milk juice. Oh, it was so great. I remember watching this. This was amazing because, everybody, I think Kurt Angle was kind of mocking Stone Cold Steve Austin because Stone Cold Steve Austin came out with the beer truck and doused the corporate with, Vince and Shane and just with beer with The Rock. And it was cool. It was funny as hell. Then you have, Kurt Angle, the Olympic gold medalist, was always, make sure you, drink your milk. The 3 I's, intensity, integrity, and intelligence is definitely something everybody should have. I think this is goody two shoes kind of guy comes out, and instead of beer, he mocks Stone Cold Steve Austin with milk. and I thought that was pretty cool. I, definitely loved the promo. It definitely got the world of wrestling talking, got Kurt Angle's name out there, and it was, funny as hell, 1010%. Like it's cool. It's cool now. Definitely one of the things I remember as a, growing up as a wrestling fan. I remember 2001. I was like 9. Yeah, I was 9 years old, and I was like, dude, this is fun. This is cool. I mean, I think I was watching it with my family. It was pretty, it was pretty cool. Definitely some of those nostalgic wrestling feelings that it's kind of cool to reflect on back then. So I definitely love Kurt Angle. Definitely love that spot. So yeah, in 2006, another time where kind of my my height of being a professional wrestling fan was once when you saw D-Generation X kind of come back together a little bit. And then, we saw in 2006 WWE SummerSlam that took place at the TD Back North Garden Arena in Boston, Massachusetts. In the main event, Edge retained his WWE Championship over John Cena. Several one-of-a-kind matches took place at this event, such as Hulk Hogan against Randy Orton, Big Show against Sabu, Ric Flair taking on Mick Foley, and also Triple H and Shawn Michaels taking on Vince and Shane McMahon. So, definitely some of the heights. And, you have Rey Mysterio, you see Batista back there. And it was just awesome. Kurt Angle, of course, Triple H and Shawn Michaels on my Mount Rushmore of the best professional wrestling. Obviously, back there you see Trish Stratus, Tori Wilson. I remember when, the Divas were kicking ass still back in that day. Obviously, it wasn't like it was, obviously now. But I don't know, you saw a lot of great matches between Trish and Lita, Victoria. You kind of had that first, kind of women's revolution where you had Fit Finley training them backstage and, kind of training them to have actual wrestling matches. And the girls were getting great attention. But at the time, WWE was kind of like, hey, like, why are they, doing submissions and top rope moves and stuff? Like, I don't know, kind of crazy, but that's, I guess that's how the time it was. Kind of crazy. But definitely love this pay-per-view. Definitely one of my favorites. So yeah. All right. In 2010, we had in 2016, sorry. We had NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2, takes place at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. This event headlined by a trio of sensational matches that showcased the very best of NXT talent. In the main event, we saw Shinsuke Nakamura defeat Samoa Joe to become the first ever two-time NXT champion. Asuka successfully defended her NXT Women's title against Bayley, and the Revival defended their tag team titles against the win over DIY. It's kind of crazy how DIY has been around since 2016. That's crazy. It's a little trippy. Damn, almost 10 years. Yeesh. And they just won their first titles at SmackDown and then got them taken away and they lost to the Bloodline. Oh, so sad. So it kind of sucks. I didn't think that DIY should have lost championships. I honestly did not think that should have happened. Obviously, you can, tell my emotions about it. I'm almost cried right now. I'm just kidding, but Shinsuke Nakamura. Shinsuke Nakamura is another example of making it to the main roster with WWE creative, not really know what the hell to do with Shinsuke Nakamura. And, he had him turn heel, obviously. He did win the Royal Rumble to take on AJ Styles at WrestleMania. Then he low blowed him, and then he turned into this jerk. And, it was bad for Shinsuke for a little while. But I feel like, I feel like WWE kind of owe him a little bit more. You definitely didn't expect once when you were going to get promoted to the main roster that you would kind of have to bite and scratch and kind of claw your way like Shinsuke Nakamura has. But, I miss seeing him in matches that, that kind of matter. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that not all matches, don't matter, but I don't know, just, main event matches. Like I don't know, he was just so great. When he was hot and the fans loved him, oh my God, this guy was he was like, nitro in a bottle. Like it was crazy, and I don't know, it's kind of a shame, but I don't know. And the Revival as well. Kind of missed the Revival on WWE, but FTR on AEW is, I think they're doing pretty, they're doing decent. Samoa Joe on, to AEW. Kind of seemed like the right place for both of those guys. And Asuka, man, Asuka. Definitely miss Asuka. 1010%. When she makes her way back to WWE, I don't know. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be 1010%. She's gonna come back, leader of Damage Control. That would be pretty cool. You have a babyface stable women's group. And I think they could very much become a two-time NXT World Women's Tag Team Champions. But I don't know. I'm not buying this collective fusion thing with Sonya Deville, Zoe Stark, and Shayna Baszler. At first, I was excited for this newly formed women's faction. I was, but it seems like it's not really getting the attention from the fans. If you're gonna, I ultimately thought this was more or less just for Shayna and also Zoe kind of getting more out of what their careers in terms of WWE, because I feel like they are definitely underrated, and I feel like they're great inside the ring talent. But you see Sonya Deville kind of insert herself into kind of into the matches and stuff like that, and they're coming out as the total heels, and it seems like they're killing it. It seems like they're doing exactly what the spots, the bookings. They're getting fans to hate them. Maybe that's the reason why I'm a little biased here, but I don't know. I just feel like I feel like it could be better. I feel like the women's division on Raw should, kind of watch a little bit about what NXT is doing in the women's division, because they are killing it. They are killing it. All right, and finally, we have a 2017 WWE SummerSlam goes down at Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. In the night's main event, you saw Brock Lesnar defeat Samoa Joe, Braun Strowman, and Roman Reigns in a fatal four-way match to retain his WWE Universal Championship, which was heartbreaking. I hated every second of it. I was like, great, we have more Brock Lesnar coming up. I was kind of rooting for Braun Strowman. I was rooting for Braun Strowman. And then I liked Roman, despite the fact that fans hated him because he was forced down the WWE Universal's throat. Samoa Joe, I thought, he was great as well, watching him on TNA and stuff like that. And when he made it to NXT, and then he made it to the main roster, and I don't know, it was all in all, it was a great match. Fatal four-ways it's crazy. Just ask Trick Williams how he lost his NXT World Championship. Like, it's not easy. It could be a pain in the butt. But Brock Lesnar did it. He retained his WWE Universal Championship at SummerSlam at Barclays. So definitely think that, remember watching that. It was, I wasn't really that, but it was cool because it was wrestling. It was a decent match. But I don't know, everything hits a little different here. We're wrestling fans, guys. We're wrestling fans. All right, guys. So that's it for me today. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thank you so much for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Leave a positive review here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity 1,010% of the time. Also follow us on Twitter /X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook for more content and updates. And like I always say, if I have not made you a wrestling fan by now, here at the GSMC Sports Network, we have a lot of awesome podcasters that, definitely keep you on the edge of your seat, keep you entertained as hell, because their voices are powerful, their passion is on fire. And so, make sure you give it a listen. We got my boy Nelson on the GSMC Basketball Podcast. We have the Andrew Tate Show, kind of entertainment, sports, kind of makes it get the best of both worlds. We also have Sports with Jeremy. We also have the GSMC the GSMC Sports Podcast with the TJ, and with football right around the corner. Oh my God, I can't believe college football starts on Saturday. That's crazy. Make sure you tune into Tommy's podcast, the GSMC College Football Podcast. We have Emran's podcast, the GSMC Soccer Podcast, starting in 10 minutes, so do not go anywhere. We also have my boy Chris Shepard on the GSMC Fantasy Sports Podcast. Find out who you're going to draft in your draft. Find out your stardoms, your sit-ems during the NFL season. And, speaking of the NFL, we have the two NFL podcasts, football podcasts. We got the Chip Shop Football Podcast with my man, Manny. Then we got Kenneth's GSMC Football Podcast, which is, badass as well. So make sure you check those out. Super cool, super awesome dudes. We're all, definitely passionate about sports. Definitely love talking to you guys. Love it when the fans interact. So 1,010% on behalf of the GSMC Sports Network. Definitely love you guys. So make sure you tune into the shows. All right, so that's it for me. Have an amazing Tuesday night. Hope you guys enjoyed NXT. I can't wait to watch it right now. You guys are beautiful, but most importantly, love you.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to